Atlanta News First starts now with breaking news.
And that breaking news right now at noon, if you live in an apartment, a deadly overnight fire that happened in Cobb County is a sobering reminder of just how fast everything can change. Good afternoon, I'm Brooks Baptiste. Right now, 3 people are dead, 2 of them children, and dozens more are displaced. Atlanta News First, Don Shipman is live with the First Alert breaking news tracker just outside the Concord Crossing Apartments. Don, you're right along Woodsong Way, and you just learned that 2 people are badly hurt.
Badly hurt. They're in critical condition. We're talking about another child in critical condition and an adult. This was a terrible fire. There's a lot of damage. Investigators are here right now. You can see them up there on that 2nd floor. They're going through the entire apartment trying to figure out what sparked this fire.
Imagine waking up to flames with no way out. Firefighters pulled 6 people, including small children, from this burning Cobb County apartment building.
They were in cardiac arrest when they left the scene.
There's just people running around, people screaming.
Neighbors watched as firefighters desperately worked to knock down the flames and save the people trapped inside. Cobb fire officials say 15 other people were rescued from 2nd and 3rd floor porches.
The 2nd story and then the 3rd were completely engulfed, literally engulfed.
The fast-moving, wind-driven fire broke out on one of the coldest nights of the year, with temperatures dipping below freezing. The American Red Cross and a local church stepped in to help those displaced. Upwards of 30 people forced into the cold with nowhere to go, many of them mourning the loss of a loved one.
Especially kids. I have kids, so I wouldn't want that. It's just heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking.
As families grieve, investigators are now trying to answer the question everyone is asking. How did this start? With daylight, fire investigators return to sift through what's left. Right now, they believe the fire started in a corner unit on the 2nd floor and spread to the 3rd.
And I did ask fire investigators if the smoke detectors and alarms were working. They say they're still investigating. We're live here in Cobb County. Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.